Hello, Bosho here again. I just played this series, like it's very much fresh on my mind, but I have a lot to comment on this. Let me rephrase this by saying that on my end, this is a poorly played series, and I'm not trying to be like self-deprecating. I'm just stating things as they are. No, um, I mean, if you're not interested in seeing poor play analysis, then you can go ahead and just click X. But if not, I think this is it could be a good content when it comes to the defeatist mentality and just like outright playing too quick. No? So, so I am playing against Dice. Dice is a very well-known tournament player, especially in the black and white sphere. And one thing about him is that he is wild, but he's not senselessly wild, you know? It's not like he just loads any gimmick trying to show off. He's not very, I wouldn't say he's a self-sabotaging kind of player. He's very smart with it, which makes him a wild card because at the end of the day, yeah, sure. You can pilot your teams to perfection, but if you are not able to know like the ins and outs of a tier, you will hardly get by, even if you just run samples. Other people will just be smarter than you, they will be ahead of the metagame, and they'll just rip you apart just from the team building standpoint alone, you know? Like maybe you can get away with, playing well, but it's not always the case. You always have to make sure that you're solid going into a metagame, that you know the ins and out of it. And this is what makes him powerful. What, made preparing this week very daunting for me because I just didn't know what he was gonna come with. My mindset was that I wanted to be as solid as possible while also trying to not not fall into habits as per usual. This is my mindset. I didn't want to match his wilderness. I kind of do in game two, but the thing is, I didn't want to go overboard with the team building. I still have to be solid overall. And so here we are. So here's game one. Okay, game one, and I see the team preview, and it's already a wild view. He has this very powerful looking team, and like it's staring at me in the eye, and I'm just so intimidated by it. And like I don't really know what sets he could be bringing. In my end, I have a mixed defensive Polito. I have nasty Blood Thunderers, which I wish it was agility for this matchup because it would have made my life so much easier. I have to say. I have Scarf Latios. I have Raspberry Double Hazard Explosion. Ferrothorn, I have Scarf Starmie. I have a double Scarf team, which I really like on Rain. I've become a fan of double Scarfers in Rain, and then I have a Sub Curem with Outrage, which I have found really like at least against very fat teams. I have found very solid. Like it also works very well against the like sand and stuff. So yeah. I don't really know what he could be bringing into this. Like, it's probably like a Balloon Starmie, Quiver Dance on this. So you'll see what sets he brings, and you'll see how I just short circuited. You'll see. I will not spoil it. So I do start with Latios because I feel it's like I just felt like it was like the best thing I could lead this into. I didn't want to go into Ferrothorn and give I didn't know the set, so this could be sub. I didn't want the Volcarona to get out of control. Polito wasn't really gonna do much. It wasn't gonna do much against Polito because I have a lot of special defense and I have Encore, so I was always gonna stop it. But I thought, okay, Latios is good. He has like only Ferrothorn as a Dragon Resist, and I didn't want to deal with his own Latios screwing up with my Ferrothorn because I have nothing else that can, threaten it directly. So Latios was a good lead for me. It goes into Landorus. I do risk this Latios being scarce. I decided that it was like I thought he wasn't really gonna stay in, and Ferrothorn taking as much damage as possible is good for my Starmie and for my Latios. So yeah, Draco was fine here. So he goes into Landorus. He reveals to be especially defensive Landorus like Max. So I just go into my Kyurem because he's probably gonna go for rocks, and if he goes for U-turn, that's fine by me. So I go for the substitute. He reads that, or like he reads that I'm not gonna go for the ice move regardless. So he just goes for U-turn. He goes into a Volcarona, and in here I just decide that I want to trade it. So I don't want to deal with Volcarona shenanigans. So I go for the outrage. It's gonna kill 100%. I don't get the burn from the flame from this, and in here, so this is the thing. This is where I for some reason it didn't click to me. I spent the majority of this game not even thinking if this was carved. The guy just goes into my Kyurem so confidently. He clicks Draco Meteor, and for some reason in my head it's like, yeah, well, this must be specs, no? And you'll see why this matters later on. So I go into my Ferrothorn, obviously. This is weekend, so I can just go for my hazards. He goes into Latios. I go into my Politoed because I don't want to take a fire move on the face, and he goes for the Dragon Pulse and his Life Orb. I haven't seen a Life Orb Latios in so many years, and well, this caught me off guard. I go back into my Ferrothorn, and here, 24% is... this thing is just ridiculous. So I thought, okay, this might be HP Fire, probably. But the thing is, I didn't really want to risk going, because Latios is very much my win condition here. Latios can, once Ferrothorn is gone, I can just spam Dragon Pulse as I please. So that was my game plan into this game. Okay, so I just decided to stay. I go for the spike. I want to have as many, I want to have as much damage on this as possible, so it doesn't come in as freely. So here I go into my Latios. I believe I do go for the Dragon Pulse. Yes, I go for the Dragon Pulse in this turn. He lets his Landorus die, and he could maybe go into Ferrothorn, but it would be a bad play because he doesn't know if my Thunder... I'm not Agility. I wish I was Agility in this matchup because I would have been so fine, because all I would have at this point, all I would have to do is like either like forcing this to explode with my Thunderous would have been so good, because then Latios just wins. But you'll see. So Landorus dies. Good, nice. Landorus dead. And he goes into Starmie because it doesn't kill with Dragon Pulse. I decided to switch out. I could have stayed and, done some damage to this, but I didn't want to lose my Latios to an analytic Ice Beam. So I just go into my Starmie, which is also a Scarf. And I go for the Thunder, and it dies. I also have to note that my timer is very low here, so I wasn't... at this point, I was playing fast. And mind you, for some reason, it doesn't cross my mind that this is Scarf. I just go under the notion that this could be something else entirely. So I sack my Politoed. Bad play also. I should have gone maybe into my Thunders. No, actually no. I'm thinking badly, because then Ferrothorn just sweeps me. So here, I go into my Latios, and here's where the bad play comes. Okay? For some reason, I was predicting Ferrothorn, yeah? And in my head, it was like, okay, I'm gonna cripple this. And I'm just, like, it's not a speed tie against Latios because it's HP Fire, so I'm gonna cripple this, lower it, and then win with my Latios. This was the mindset. And then in here, I'm like, okay, so I go into my Thunderous because I don't want... I want to take this down. And I tell him that I almost thought of clicking Dragon Pulse here, but at this point the game is over. I sold it. I sold the game because Kyurem just clicks Ice Beam or whatever it wants like 3 times, and it's over. It's very much over for me. I win the speed tie, obviously, and then Kyurem just sweeps, and that's the game. If I was predicting Landorus, Ferrothorn, the best thing that I could have done was to just double into my Thunderous and make a prediction of either him going into Latios or or Qdom. Like really bad all around. And this is, you know, this is why you have to be. I don't know. This is one of those times where I just like turned off my brain and I didn't think things thoroughly, and it very much cost me because there was a pathway, a clear pathway for me to win, even if it wasn't 100% guaranteed, and I just threw it because it just didn't cross my mind. This is something that I hate, and I think also a lot of people do when playing games, and it is to overlook details. Even though I have my timer was low, I can guarantee you guys that I was using my brain cells playing this game, and in the end, I just like didn't think it through. Like it for some reason, it just didn't cross my mind, and it is what costs me. And well, Thunderous is dead, and I lose the game. And now here's game two, and I am the one that decides to bring some nonsense, but I don't know. I was building a lot this week, and trying to prepare against a player that's so creative and actually knows his way into team building is such a headache. And I was just trying stuff. I wasn't particularly trying to counter him. It is just impossible. So I kind of just stumbled upon this structure just by putting mons together, and it is a team that I really liked. Like I played a lot with it, and it was, it was actually delivering really cool results. So I loaded it into this game, and well, thankfully I didn't face Volcarona. Actually, so the little backstory against this team is that I have a lot of stuff that quote unquote can stop Volcarona. I have Scarf Charm. I have Punishment Scarf Weavile. And I was originally running Rock Slide Sash on Aboma Snow, as a sort of another extra safety measure against Volcarona, because Volcarona can just like lead against me and click back bus. Like I have, like my back resists don't like to be in front of Volcarona. Like it is like here I have Fortress, but Fortress dies 3,000 times over against the fire move, and then I have Gliscor that, well, if it's timid, Volcarona, I just get outsped, and I die from Fire Blast or like HPIs. So I thought that having another extra measure apart from Scarf Jump and a Scarf Weavile would be cool. Like not giving it any, the concept wasn't to counter it, but to not give it a lot of wiggle room. Because also, like, if it faces Low King, I don't die from it, and I have Dragon Tail, so that was fine. Thankfully, he didn't bring Volcarona like he did in game 1, so that's cool. Very awesome. So I have this team. It is like your usual, the usual Conkeldurr offense, but instead of a Jirachi, there's a Metagross. He likes Metagross a lot. Very awesome team. Like I love looking at Dice's teams always. Like he's so creative and so cool with them, and I felt like also he was also on the Discord backstory. He's always asking people to build with Weavile, so I found it funny that I actually stumbled upon a Weavile build that I was actually very happy with, and I just brought it to him, and I was like, "Yeah, I hope you're happy." He was. So yeah, let's start with the game. It's a disaster. Like, let me tell you this. I lead with Aboma Snow. He leads with Garchomp. I just go for the Blizzard. I am a Sash Aboma Snow, so if he goes for Fire Blast, that's fine. And he dies. Thank God I have the Hail. And then here starts the fuck ups. So I go for Blizzard. I directly attack the Conkeldurr for like. And I shouldn't have. I simply shouldn't have. I should have just kept this as my, safety measure against Dragonite or, a potential Qdom. Like, Aboma Snow was expendable once Garchomp was gone. So I could have just, like, gone into my Slowking, or I could have gone into my Fortress. Like, I was... Yeah, this was a screw up because look at this. I almost lost my Obama Snow and his Conkeldor is back at 96%. So it's a terrible play. I don't know what crossed my mind once again. And this was not this was just a product of me playing too fast. I don't really know what I was doing. Maybe I was thinking, well, he could be Thunder Punch and he could be trying to catch my Slow King, whatever. Like, yeah, it wasn't a good play. So this ends up costing me. So I go into my fortress because I have a hazards OCD. I just don't like to have stealth rock on my field. And he goes for the Mach Punch. I don't die. Obviously, it's a fortress. It's so freaking strong. And he goes for the bulk up, and this is when it starts to become dangerous. I go into my Obama Snow because I don't want to take much damage from this. And in here, I go for Slow King because this Slow King is particularly tailored at to deal with Conkelders. It is slower than them, so I don't take too much from payback. But the thing is that I have also allowed this Conkeldor to go at +2, so it's gonna do a lot of damage for me. Another thing here that I do, I go for Psychic, and this is also a big misplay on my end because what I should have done here was to just go for the Dragon Tail. Uh, because at this point, like there was no other way for me to allow this Loking to get a +2, and if I got Kyurem here, it would have been nice. Sorry, Slowking, Conkeldor. I wouldn't have allowed this Conkeldor to set up much anymore, and given that he was payback, I could just wall it with my Gliscor and Slowking. So this was a mistake on my end, and it very much cost me because now I'm forced to wiggle around and try to take this game back. I go for the knockoff, so it starts wearing down. I go for the protect, and he outplays me. I have to say, he plays this series much better than I did, and it is just it kind of hurts me. It kind of hurts me, like not being outplayed, but I myself not playing up to standard. Here I go for my Garchomp, predicting the payback, so he takes some damage. I also have some defense EVs, so I know I wasn't gonna take that much. And now I go into my fortress, predicting a Mach Punch. So this was a really good sequence of plays on my end because now I put this in range of HP Fire and I can just kill it. And thankfully it dies. If this survived, I would have just lost here. So he goes into Starmie, and here comes another series of bad plays. I go into my Weavile, and in here, I don't know what possessed me. I don't particularly know what possessed me. I should have just gone for the pursuit here. I shouldn't be allowing this Starmie to run amok, because even if it protects me, I would have been fine. I would have totally be fine because I can just set up my T-Spikes again later, so I wouldn't. It was mostly fine, and I needed to get rid of this because you're gonna see what happens in late game. I go for the punishment. As I said, this is a punishment Weavile because my only way of dealing with Rioniclus is Slowking. And all it does is delay this into a late game Calm Mind War against it, and I just lose to it. And it also works against Volcarona. It almost kills it if it's a +1 in all three stats. So really cool tech. So I go into my fortress because I wall this all day, unless it reveals now that it's like HP 5 or something. Thankfully it isn't. I'm a max defense fortress, so I'm not gonna take much from this little guy in his life. Even with the life, or like, you can see how powerful it is. So now, once again, I predict the rapid spin and just go into my Weavile and let it die. Dumbly so, because this is also... I could have also kept this Weavile around. I could have just kept it around and forced Dragonite in. If it did this, I force it into Outrage, and I just revenge kill it with Weavile. So yeah, it is such an embarrassing game. I am staring at it. It is painful, but I also believe that one has to confront themselves when it comes to this game. Or maybe, like, well, at the end of the day, Pokemon is also like competitive Pokemon is kind of a reflection of real life. But you kind of have to sit with your mistakes. You have to stare at them in the face, and you have to acknowledge that this is like these series of plays that I have made here are bad. they are outright bad, and I hope in the future I don't make these mistakes. Anyways, so in here, another major thing happens, and it's that, well, in here I still have I still have a good I'm still well positioned because Slow King walls this, and even if Dragonite is Dragon Dance, I can just Dragon Tail it out, and Scarf Jump is almost guaranteed to just like sweep with Outrage, so I'm mostly fine. But I get crit, and this is, yeah. And now this means that I cannot force the Dragonite to take I cannot force Dragonite to take an Outrage without its mold to scale. So yeah, I very much rely on crits in order to win this. I do kill the Starmie, and now here comes Cute and Black, and basically I'm forced into switching out. Like, I was praying that this wouldn't be able to two-hit KO me, so I could Pain Split. I have Pain Split on this, and I die from it, and well, basically now I have to get crits. So I get the crit here, and I was like, well, Archam, this is a wrong turn to get a crit. And lo and behold, I get the crit again here. This is, it was embarrassing. I guess it makes up for the crit on the Slow King. But overall, this is a terrible game on my end. I think he played much better than I did in here too. And yeah, on to game 3. And now I get the reverse matchup. He brings the Weevil Hail against me, and I'm just bringing my standard. It's a standard Sand with Magma, Solar Beam, Heatran, and this is a Colbur. This is a Colbur Psycho Shift Latios, but it's literally not gonna do shit against this team because the shit I can, like, it's mostly meant for it's mostly meant for Rotom Wash Tyranitar cores, where Rotom Wash will burn you and then they will go into Titar, and then you just transfer the burning to them, and then Alakazam just becomes Satan against that team. And well, this is not looking good because I cannot Psycho Shift, and there's a Weavile and there's Slowking that walls me all day. Yeah, not good. So here, bad lead. I lead with Ferrothorn. I didn't think he would lead with Abomasnow having a whole ass Heatran on my end, but well, I get outplayed from turn 1. So here goes. I go into my Tita predicting a Blizzard, and I get crit turn 1. It's not looking good for me. I did go back into my Ferrothorn here, thinking that this could be HP Fire. I didn't know the set, even if it was leftovers. So he goes for the knockoff, and in here I just think, well, is this just a Stealth Rock Gliscor? Like, I was very confused at this set. I thought, or maybe it's knockoff U-turn or knockoff taunt. I don't know. I wasn't really sure. So I go into Latios. He predicts that well. I go into my Heatran, and he goes into his own Heatran here. I do have Balloon, but I don't have Earth Power. I don't know why. I guess I just kind of gave to the masses because the Heatrans don't, even defensive Heatrans don't run Earth Power that much these days. And if I had Earth Power, this would have made it like a much easier matchup for me, I guess. So I just go into my Tyranitar, and I just go for the rocks. He goes for Toxic. I don't even have Superpower Earthquake on this, so I'm not gonna do much against it. Like, I thought at this point. So here's the thing: the way I was playing this game, I was almost giving up. Like, I didn't really know how to beat this score because Fortress was just gonna get the hazards out at some point. Weavile was just gonna trap me, even if I have Cold War. Like, I have nothing much to do against it, and he could just also protect me and go for Ice Punch, and I would die. I was also gonna be like especially defensive Heatran was also very much threatening for my team. And you'll see with this Gliscor. This Gliscor is Satan. Like, this Gliscor is like you check it out, okay? So I go for the HPIs because one thing that I noticed about this team is that it's very Excadrill weak. Like Excadrill does a lot of damage to this team, especially. So I thought that this Gliscor would just be like a fast Gliscor. No, it turns out that it's a freaking specially defensive Gliscor. So I don't kill with HPIs, and he reveals to be Roost, and this is a nightmare. Like I would have much rather had face protect in this, but Roost does make sense, and I find myself in a big conundrum now. I cannot do anything to this Gliscor. I have see, like I do nothing. The damage that I do is nearly not enough, and at this point I'm like, what the heck do I do against this Gliscor? I have nothing to threaten it out. So in here I go for my Heatran. I thought maybe he would go into Fortress, and he doesn't. He goes for the Source Dance, and I'm like, Source Dance knockoff. I am shitting my pants because what the heck is this set? So in here, I decide to just go into my Landers because I'm like, okay, maybe this is Earthquake. And, well, he goes for the Surgeons again, and I go for the HPIs, and he reveals to be Facade. I do leave, thankfully, because I am running a very defensive spread on the Landerus. So I was fine. And in here, I do get outplayed again. He goes for the Roost. I was getting embarrassed in this game. Like I very much got embarrassed in like all three games. To be honest, like I'm not particularly proud of how these matches developed. So well, at this point, I learned that it's Facade. It doesn't have Earthquake, so I just wall this all day. So I go for the lead seat because this way I can just like threaten it. I do go for the Power Whip just to not lower it, and well, in here I do predict that he's not gonna spin, so I just go for the knockoff, and I just now in here I do predict the rapid spin, and I go for my Landorus. Now here comes Heatran, and as I said, like I thought this is very much Raps. But Tita is toxic, Heatran is low, Latios cannot do anything against this because Gliscor walls it all day. There's a sped of Heatran, there's a Weavile, so I was very much giving up. I was playing, as I said, I wasn't giving up entirely, but I was like very defeated. Like I didn't really know what to do against this team. I do go for the Magma Storm, and here comes a turn that actually changes like everything, and it's that I get the crit with the Solar Beam. So this, it felt like almost no, it felt like very comedic in the sense that both games, like the previous game and this one, get decided on the fact that Slowking gets crit on a very crucial turn. So it's um, then in here, as I said, I was giving up. I just went for the Magma Storm. I don't know why. I don't particularly understand why I would give this Heatran the the chance to just power itself up with Flash Fire. So in here I go for my Latios. I start clicking Surf. At this point, I was just spamming moves. So I was trying to bluff the Scarf in here. And well, I managed to because in here he goes for the protect. I predict the protect, and I go for the roost. But here he gets the double protect. He doesn't get the triple protect. Thankfully, if he did there, it would have been deadly. So there's still at this point there's still a way for me to win. It's like, but it's very minimal because I was thinking that this would just beat me like with Ice Shard. And so I go into my Alakazam because it's basically the best thing I can just go into. It kills anything. Yeah, I would just have to hit Focus Blast on this, HPIs. Well, HPIs I believe is that you hit KO on this, but he doesn't really want to. He probably doesn't want this to die. I don't know. Yeah, very. I mean, it was looking. I mean, it was looking doable for me, I guess. So, He goes for the pursuit, obviously. I mean, he wouldn't want me to just like run away with my Alakazam unscathed and go into my Ferrothorn. Makes sense. So in here he goes for the Abomasnow, and I just go into my T-Tar because I don't want to take an Ice Shard on the face. He goes for the Giga Drain, and I thought he was predicting me. I was like, okay, here goes another one of his outplays. I was like, this man is just manhandling me so easily. I go into my Heatran because Ice Shard doesn't kill, and he goes into Gliscor. I do predict this. Woohoo! I make a prediction. Congratulations, Posho. And now here I decide to take away the Heatran. I don't want it to die because this does give me a chance for to get a sack against the fortress. He goes for the roost. Very good play. Yeah, it does make sense because even if I went for HPIs again, he would just take half the damage. I go for the lead seeding here. I wasn't sure if he was gonna go into fortress or not. Maybe I should have gone for the spike. Maybe, who knows? I mean, I think elite seed was fine here too. So in here he does predict me. Uh, he predicts my sack against fortress, and now I'm like, well, I just lose. Like I was already conceding the game. I was thinking maybe there's a way for me for my Ferrothorn to beat this, but it has protect, and not like I don't really know what to do against this. I am, yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's over. Like there's no way for me to win this game. How do I win? And he goes for the protect, and I'm like, suspicious. Why doesn't is he trolling? Is he giving me? Is he giving me? Is he giving me false hope that I might be able to pull this game? And and no, I he does in fact not have he doesn't have ice shards, so that means that I just win with this. I was surprised, but yeah. Um, the thing that allows me to pull this game back is the crit on Slowking. I did get crit initially with my Tyranitar, but I don't think that ended up mattering much in the long run. So yeah, I win. I go for I almost clicked Psyshock. Psyshock could I think this could have lifted. But I do have Signal Beam. I have HP Ice that would have killed it also, and that's the game. Pretty terrible series on my end. I'm glad that I'm now able to, just go over all the three replays and be able to spot the things that I did wrong and different paths that I could have taken. I did, in the first game, I did make the mistake of overlooking a clear sign that this is Scarf. On the second game, I just sack my Abomasnow to the Conkeldurr for no reason. I make a lot of nonsensical plays like not pursuing the Starmie when it was priority for me to do so. Um, so yeah, and in the third game I was just defeated. I thought that I was going to lose. I did get a lucky break, but I was playing mostly thinking, well, this is over for me. And I think it's overall a mentality that anyone should avoid because, well, as you can see, I did end up winning. I wasn't conducing myself in a way that I thought, well, I'm going to win. I just saw the Abomasnow not having Ice Shard, and I was like, oh, damn, lucky me, I guess. So I mostly lost on a team building blunder, if you can call it that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I'm 3-0 though. I'm I'm happy with my results, and our team is doing pretty well. So yeah, it was a pleasure though to play and prepare against him. Like I actually felt I didn't feel undecisive with my team choices this week. I was mostly tinkering with this team. But I'm happy. I'm happy with the teams that I brought. I think they were very solid, and I like them a lot. So yeah, this is very much it for this week. I don't know if I'll be bringing more. Maybe I was thinking of also recording my Black White Ladder tournament games, but yeah, who knows? Whenever if I I'll see this week if I'm not that busy and I can do that. But yeah, thanks for watching if you have, and I hope you can take something away from these games and that you can apply to your own playing philosophy. And I'll see you in the next time if there's any. Thank you.